Hi, I'm Gail Langner. Welcome to the Perm Show. We're here on a beautiful spring day. We're here with Carol Riethmeyer and Donna Gill, both master gardeners, and they've got some tips for us for what to do for spring. So welcome. Thanks so much for coming today.
Oh, thank you. We're just excited to be talking about spring.
Well, I bet you are. You're getting into your time of year, that's for sure, right?
Right.
Well, why don't you give us some tips? What are some things that we need to be doing right now for the spring?
Okay, well, we have had a lot of people come in and ask about starting a vegetable garden. And the thing is with vegetable gardening is to start small.
Okay.
You know, don't get too big right away because then it gets to be work. Yeah. So start small, perhaps like a 10 by 10 space, and till it up because you want to get all that undergrowth dug in, and then do a soil test. So you know exactly what you're starting with, and you can enhance your soil and make it better so you can really grow nice vegetables. You want to be successful.
Well, I was going to ask you, I know that at my house I have a lot of sand.
Oh, yes.
And so
we call it dirty sand.
Dirty sand. So what kinds of things do I need to be adding to my soil maybe to make it produce a little bit better?
Well, if you do the University of Minnesota soil test, they'll come back with an analysis of what you need as far as fertilizers.
Okay.
But you can always dig in peat moss and compost.
All right.
That's a very good start. We've done that a lot at our house.
Okay.
And it just seems to get the garden off to a good start.
So if somebody who's brand new, never had a garden before, what would you recommend to start with? What kinds of things? Just maybe the things that you like personally?
They're right. To start with vegetables that you like.
Okay.
And, things like beans and peas are pretty easy to grow. We'll get into some other things here in just a few minutes, but beans, peas, carrots are pretty easy, onions perhaps, but grow the things you like.
Okay.
And I have found with working with our children's garden, if you get the children involved, they'll eat what they grow.
Absolutely.
And that's part of what you want to accomplish, is get the kids exposed to a lot of new things.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to watch, once you get your garden, dug up and ready to plant, you need to watch the soil temperature.
Okay.
And, as soon as the ground temperature reaches like 40 degrees, you can plant onions and radishes. Carrots can go in right away, and peas are pretty early as well.
Okay.
But then as the ground warms up, you can add more things.
All right.
But you want to wait with tomatoes until it reaches about 60 degrees.
The ground temperature, 60 degrees.
The ground temperature, not the air temperature, the ground temperature.
Okay.
And it does fluctuate a little bit. One of the handiest items we have at our house is a soil thermometer. And we just take it out there and plop it in, and we can see where we are and what's
I never even thought about that.
And a moisture meter is also very, very helpful. Then it tells you when to water, because you don't want to overwater, but you don't want to underwater.
That's
either.
what I do. I am way, way, way too nice to my plants.
Yes, and some of those things rot off.
Yeah.
But then again, wherever you plan your garden, your vegetable garden, you need to have it close to a source of water.
Okay.
You don't want to put it way out, so you have to haul water or whatever.
Sure.
And then when you plan what you're going to plant out there, you want to put your tomatoes more on one edge, because you do not want to overhead water your tomatoes. That's just asking for disease problems.
Okay.
So put them at an edge so you can water them at the root.
Okay. That might be what my problem was with my tomatoes a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. They need to be watered at the root.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Mike Hager, one of our, he was worked with Master Gardener program. He owns a nursery down by the cities, and he says they like wet feet, dry clothes.
Interesting.
Did you remember that
wet
with
feet,
tomatoes?
Dry clothes. Interesting. That's good to know. Good.
Okay. Donna, can you think of anything else that I had forgotten here?
Well, be sure you're in full sun.
Yes.
Vegetables have to have full sun.
They do?
Yes.
Okay.
At least 6 hours a day.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
And many years ago, my grandfather told me that the rows should be north and south for airflow. And I have found that, I've tried them east and west, north and south. North and south seems to work the best for airflow.
So your rows north and south in full sun. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
And close to a source of water.
And close to a source of water. Okay.
And fertilizer is important. You need to add some fertilizer when you're tilling your garden, and then it doesn't hurt to add some to your heavy feeders like tomatoes and peppers.
Okay.
As the season goes on.
All right, good. Well, thank you, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Perm Show. As I mentioned before, we're here with Carol Riethmeyer and Donna Gill, master gardeners here in Perham, and we're talking about vegetables. And so, tell me, kind of take off where we left off. I know that we were talking about tomatoes and such.
Okay, well, like I mentioned before, one of the early crops, things that you can put in the garden are onions.
Okay.
And these are onion transplants. Sometimes in the grocery store you've seen those little bulb-like things.
Onion sets.
Onion sets. Those are great for eating as fresh green onions.
Okay.
But if you can use the transplants for either green onions, or these are made more for storage, the storage onions.
Okay.
When they get to be big bulbs. And this is a variety called Candy, which is a very nice sweet variety. And if you see these in your garden centers, these are really an excellent way to go. They're going to hold up in the fall. They'll go well into the winter as a storage onion.
Okay.
But if you're going to plant them like this, you plant them only an inch deep if you want them as a bulb, because that bulb you want to form almost on top of the ground.
Really?
But if you want to plant them as a green onion, then you plant them about 2 to 3 inches into the ground.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
And, the bulb onion, are meant for green onion eating. They're not a storage type of thing. So that's the difference between those two. We get a lot of questions on that.
Okay.
Another thing that people are starting to come in and buy right now are like cauliflower and broccoli.
All right.
And, they can plant these a little deeper. They can plant them, like about so, not to the growing point, but they can actually go in the ground a little deeper. One thing nice about broccoli is that once you cut that main head, you leave the stalk in the garden because it'll form side shoots.
Oh, I didn't
know that. So it's
like
getting 2 for 1.
Sure.
Which makes it an absolutely wonderful vegetable. You can be eating broccoli all summer long.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing with these is you have to kind of watch for those caterpillars, and the little butterflies that come dancing around in the garden.
Sure.
And sometimes you have to dust or spray for them because they will just absolutely destroy the plant. Cauliflower is another fun one to grow, but this is a one-shot deal. You plant it, once you cut that main head, you're done.
I've never planted cauliflower before.
It's kind of fun to do that.
I would think it would be.
And the new varieties actually grow and cover that head so it stays white.
This way.
Right.
Okay.
They used to tell us to always tie it, tie the leaves over that white head as it's forming.
Okay.
But they tell us now that's just a zone for disaster. All that moisture and stuff is in there, and it'll rot it out. So just leave it go naturally, and it'll take care of itself.
Okay.
There's also, we're a little too early yet for peppers. Kind of wait toward Memorial Day because they're really a warm season crop. And you just, pop these out of the tray and plant them just the way they are. And their roots should be nice and white like this.
Okay.
If they're wound around and around, they're root bound and they're not going to do as well for you.
That's good to know.
So if you're in a garden center, we certainly don't mind, where we are working during the summer, having customers pop them out of there to check.
To look.
Okay.
Because
you don't want them real root bound.
Okay.
But peppers are another thing that are fun to grow. And they come, like these are just a green eating pepper. But there's really hot ones, for the salsa makers.
Right.
They're real fun.
Right.
And just in the last few years, a lot of people are planting celery.
All right.
And this is another one of those where you can keep this plant growing all summer long in your garden. I had a lot of fun with this last year in my own garden. You plant it, and then, like when you go to the store, you buy the whole head.
Right.
Well, here you just go out and cut off the stalks you need. Because it
and
grows,
leave the rest?
And leave the rest because it grows from the center.
Oh, how neat.
So you just cut off what you need, go in, chop it up, and a few days later you can go out and get it again.
Okay.
So it's just fun. But
lastly, the tomatoes?
Oh, yeah. These are, I call them kind of the queen of the garden because we all love fresh tomatoes. When you go in and buy them, if you're going to can them, you want a nice meaty variety, and this is Celebrity, and that's kind of a standard. Everybody, judges all of their tomatoes by Celebrity. But when you go to plant these, you strip off the leaves.
Okay.
And plant them deep because you want all of this to form root.
Okay.
So plant your tomatoes deep. That's about the only one you can do that with. And then remember, don't overhead water.
Okay. Just at the roots.
Just at the roots.
Okay.
And water lots, because they're big water.
Okay. Well, thank you so much today, Carol and Donna, Master Gardeners. We appreciate you being here, and thanks so much.
All right.
And if you have something that you'd like to see on the Perham Show, call me, Gail Langner, at 218-841-2094. Thanks, and have a great day.